Eli groaned softly as his eyes blinked open. At first, everything felt heavy, his body, his chest, and even his thoughts. The room was dim, lit only by the blue glow of the station's emergency lights. The air smelled of metal and recycled air, like it always did on the Unity research station. But something was different. Something was on top of him. He turned his head slowly. His vision was blurry at first, but it cleared enough for him to realize the weight on him wasn't a blanket or fallen equipment. It was Reen. His alien roommate. Her tall, slender body lay stretched over his chest. Her skin was a soft shade of pale blue, smooth and slightly cool to the touch. Her small elf-like ears twitched slightly, and her silver-white hair fell like silk across his face. She wasn't moving, not even breathing, at least not in the way humans did. Eli's heart began to race. He froze in place, unsure if he should speak, shout, or stay completely still. "Kaireen?" he whispered, gently shaking her shoulder. Her body jolted lightly at his touch. She gasped, eyes flying open, those violet eyes glowing softly in the low light. She looked around in confusion, her expression shifting quickly from dazed to embarrassed. What?" she began, pulling herself off him in a rush. "I didn't mean to. I wasn't—" Eli sat up too, rubbing the back of his neck. "It's okay. I was just surprised." Kaireen stood, stumbling a bit before steadying herself. She was breathing faster now, her gaze darting around the room. "Something happened," she said quickly. "I was working at my console last night. Then there was a pulse, a sound, or maybe a light. I don't remember clearly after that." Eli tried to think. "I didn't hear anything. I just went to sleep after checking the air filters." Suddenly, the room shook. A deep rumble passed through the walls, and a faint alarm began to buzz. Somewhere in the distance, the lights flickered again, turning red this time emergency mode. Both of them looked at each other. "That's not normal," Eli said, pulling on his boots. "Let's check the systems." Kaireen nodded and moved to the wall panel near the door. Her fingers danced quickly across the holographic screen. "Power spikes. Level 3 lockdown triggered in sectors 4 and 5. There's no signal from the main comms hub. Is it an attack?" Eli asked, stepping beside her. Kaireen's brow furrowed. "I don't know. But look at this. There's a strange data surge that started in our room. Right before the alarm, it spread out from here." Eli blinked. "From here?" She turned to face him, serious now. "Something activated inside our room, Eli. Something ... alien." His stomach dropped. "You mean something we brought in?" Kaireen slowly looked around the room, her eyes scanning every corner. "No, I mean something that was already here." Just then, a panel near the floor cracked open on its own. A low hum filled the room, and a thin pulse of blue light spread out across the walls like a wave. Both of them stepped back instinctively. "Did you see that?" Eli asked. Kaireen didn't answer. She knelt down and looked inside the open panel, her eyes narrowed. She reached in carefully and pulled out a small black device. It looked like a stone with tiny wires and a strange glowing ring in the center. "I've never seen tech like this," she said. "Not human, not Yalari. Not anything in the station's inventory." Eli crouched beside her. "Could it be old? Left behind from before the station was fully built?" Kaireen shook her head. "No, it's active. This thing turned itself on last night. It sent out a wave, probably affected both of us. That's why I blacked out. And maybe why you didn't even feel it." "Why me?" Eli asked. "Why not the others?" Kaireen looked at him seriously. "Maybe it targets alien minds. Maybe your human brain isn't affected the same way?" Eli didn't like the sound of that. "So this device woke up, and it did something to you, and it started in our room." "Yes," she said quietly. "And if it's spreading, others might be affected soon too." As if on cue, the station's internal voice crackled over the speakers. "Medical alert in Sector 5. Crew member collapsed without warning. Emergency response dispatched." Eli and Kaireen stared at each other. "We need to report this." Eli said, "No," Kaireen replied quickly. "Not yet. If Command thinks we're the cause, they'll quarantine us." Or worse, shut down the whole sector. We need to know what this thing is first. Eli hesitated. You want us to investigate it ourselves? Karine nodded. We're engineers. We can trace the energy signal. If we find out where it came from or who put it here, we can stop it. Eli looked at the small black device again. It had stopped pulsing, but the faint hum remained. He didn't like keeping secrets from command, but he trusted Karine. She was smart, calm under pressure, and always made careful decisions. All right, he said. Let's find out what this thing really is. Karine gave him a small, grateful nod. Then she picked up the device with a tool and placed it into a scanner case. Let's move fast, before the signal spreads again. As they stepped out into the hallway, the red emergency lights painted the corridor in warning colors. The silence was heavy. Doors were shut. The only sound was the low hum of machines and distant alarms. Eli walked beside carrying the scanner case in his hands. He could still feel the pressure from earlier when he woke to find her on top of him. But now something more serious pulled at his mind, whatever had started in their room. It wasn't over, and neither of them was ready for what came next. Eli and Karine moved quickly through the dim corridors of the Unity Research Station. The red emergency lights still blinked overhead, making everything look tense and dangerous. Their footsteps echoed as they passed closed doors and empty halls. The station felt quiet. Too quiet. Karine held a small scanner in her hand, watching the readings closely. The black alien device inside the sealed case was still giving off low signal, silent, but active. I've never seen tech like this, Karine said again, her voice low and serious. It's not using standard power. The signal is organic, maybe even alive. Eli looked uneasy. Alive? You mean like a parasite? Karine nodded slightly. Not like an animal. More like something designed to change the way a brain works. That made Eli's stomach twist. Like mind control? Or mind influence, she replied. Small changes at first, confusion, memory loss, then maybe worse. They entered a side lab in the engineering section. Karine locked the door behind them. The room was small but secure. There were tools, data pads, and a main console. A large glass table sat in the center, ready for analysis. Eli placed the sealed scanner case on the table. Let's find out where this thing came from. Karine plugged the scanner into the console. The screen came to life, showing waves of energy patterns, signal traces, and heat maps. Eli pointed. That looks like a signal burst from our room last night. Karine zoomed in. Yes, and here, see this path? The signal traveled into the station systems. It hit the life support AI, the communication grid, and the security cams. Eli frowned. It's spreading, she nodded. Yes, but not like a virus, more like it's searching. Eli leaned closer. For what? Karine looked uneasy. I don't know yet, but I think it's testing the station. Looking for weak spots, places where minds can be influenced. Just then, a new alert popped up on the console. Medical bay, 2 more crew reported confusion, memory loss, and fainting. Medical staff placed under observation. Eli and Karine exchanged worried glances. That's 3 now, Eli said. Karine's voice dropped. We need to warn someone. But you said if we report it too early, Eli started. No, she interrupted. But this is getting worse. Eli thought for a second. What if we talk to Dr. Renna? She's half human, half Kilari. She studies xenotech and neural signals. Maybe she can help without raising alarms. Karine nodded. Good idea. She's smart and careful. They packed up the device and left the lab. The halls were even quieter now. As they walked, they passed a crew member standing alone near a wall, staring into space. He didn't blink. Didn't move, Karine whispered. He's infected. Eli slowly walked around him. What should we do? We don't touch him, she said. Just keep moving. They finally reached the xenobiology wing. Dr. Renna's office was inside. Ring knocked 3 times. A moment passed before the door opened. Dr. Renna, a woman with pale skin and golden eyes, stood there with a tablet in hand. She looked tired but alert. Karine, Eli, what's going on? We need help, Karine said quickly, privately. Dr. Renna let them in. They showed her the device and explained everything, Karine fainting, the signal spreading, and the strange behavior in the crew. Rena listened carefully, eyes scanning the data. This is advanced tech, beyond anything I've seen. This ring in the center, it's not just decoration. It's a resonance core. What does that mean? Eli asked. It can send signals directly into the brain. Not just words, feelings, ideas, maybe even commands. Karine's voice was tight. Can it be stopped? Dr. Rena looked at them. Maybe, but only if we get ahead of it. If we wait too long, the signal might adapt. It could become part of the station systems. Eli leaned forward. What do we do? Rena opened a drawer and took out a headset. We create a countersignal. Something that blocks or balances the original pattern. But I need to map it fully first. I'll need your help. Eli looked at Karine. We're in. They spent the next hour working together. Eli handled the system access. Karine analyzed signal pathways. Rena used her neural tools to study the brainwave patterns affected by the alien device. This part, Rena said, pointing at the screen, is dangerous. It targets emotions. It makes people scared, or angry, or empty. It breaks trust between minds. Eli whispered, It's trying to divide us. Karine nodded. And weaken us before something worse arrives. Rena looked up sharply. You think this is only the beginning? Karine's expression was serious. I think this is just a test. The real threat hasn't come yet. A loud knock hit the door. Everyone froze. Who is it? Rena called. Out, a voice replied, flat and strange. Dr. Rena, you must report to security, now. Karine checked the monitor. 2 crew members stood outside. Their faces were blank. Eyes distant. They're infected, she whispered. Rena acted fast. She turned off the lights, grabbed the device, and opened a back exit. This way, quiet. They slipped out through the emergency maintenance tunnel. It was dark and narrow, but it led them away safely. As they moved, the signal detector in Karine's hand beeped softly. It's spreading again, she whispered. Where's it going now? Eli asked. Karine looked at the scanner. Engineering bay. It's targeting the reactor core? Eli stopped. If it reaches the core, Karine finished his sentence. It could take over everything. They had no choice. They had to stop it before it reached the core. Rena handed Karine a drive. I've saved the counter pattern here. It's not perfect, but it might help. Get it into the signal systems. Eli nodded. We'll do it. They split up, Rena going back to distract the crew. While Eli and Karine ran toward the engineering section. As they ran, Eli felt his heart pounding. Not just from fear, but from something deeper. He was just a maintenance engineer. He wasn't trained for this. But now everything depended on him and Karine, and somehow he trusted her more than anyone else in the galaxy, even if they were very different. Human and alien, they had something powerful in common. They weren't going to give up. Not without a fight. The corridor leading to the engineering bay was quiet, too quiet. Eli and Karine moved fast, but cautiously. The lights above them flickered between red and dark. Something about the silence felt wrong, like the station itself was holding its breath. Karine kept her scanner in one hand and the drive from Dr. Rena in the other. It held the countersignal, their only hope of stopping the alien device from reaching the station's core systems. If they failed, the whole research station could fall under control of whatever strange force had infected the minds of their crew. Eli broke the silence. Are you okay? Karine nodded, though her face was tense. Just focusing. The signal is getting stronger. It's adapting. Adapting? Eli asked. Yes, she said. It's changing its pattern to match new systems. It's not just a virus. It's intelligent. Eli shivered at the thought. A signal that could think? That could infect minds? And it all started from a small black device. Hidden in their room, they reached a sealed door leading into the reactor access tunnel. It was locked with a level 2 security code. I can bypass this, Eli said, kneeling beside the control panel. He opened it and pulled out a few wires, connecting his portable tool. Sparks flew for a moment, then the door hissed open. Karine smiled slightly. Nice work, Eli grinned back. I've been unlocking doors since I was 12. They stepped inside the tunnel. The air was warmer here. The deeper they went, the more they could hear the hum of the reactor. But something else was there. To a low vibration, almost like a distant whisper in their ears, Karine paused. Do you hear that? Eli nodded. Yeah, it's like voices. It's the signal, she whispered. It's trying to talk to us. Eli tried to ignore it, but the sound made his head feel heavy. A strange pressure pushed against his thoughts, like someone was trying to open a door in his mind. Karine noticed. It's targeting you now. Stay focused. Eli looked at her. Why now? It didn't affect me before. Karine's eyes narrowed. Because you're closer to me now, and we've connected mentally by being exposed together. The signal might see that as a weakness. He frowned. But it's not a weakness. No, she agreed. It's our strength. They moved on. The tunnel opened into a larger room reactor control bay too. But they weren't alone. 3 crew members stood near the main console. They weren't working. They were just standing completely still. Their faces were calm but lifeless. Their eyes glowed faintly blue. Karine held out a hand, stopping. Eli, they're fully under control. What do we do? He whispered. We go around, quietly. They stayed low and moved around the edge of the room. Every step felt like walking on glass. One wrong move, one sound, and the crew could notice them. Eli held his breath. The voices in his head grew louder, soft words he couldn't understand. Then his foot bumped a loose tool. It clattered across the floor. The sound echoed like thunder. All 3 infected crew members turned their heads at the same time. Karine pulled Eli behind a storage crate. Run if I say so. Eli nodded, heart pounding, but the crew didn't move. They stared for a few seconds, then turned back to the console like they had forgotten. Karine whispered, They're guarding the core access, but only reacting to real threats. That's lucky, Eli said softly. Not luck, Karine replied. The signal is focused. It doesn't want to destroy, just control. As long as we don't act like enemies, we're safe. They slowly moved toward the backup access panel on the wall. It led to a smaller interface, a place Karine could upload the counter signal. But the path went straight past the crew. Eli spoke gently. I'll distract them. You upload the signal. Karine's eyes widened. No, too dangerous. He gave a weak smile. They'll notice you faster, you're alien. I'm still fully human to them. Maybe they won't react. Karine hesitated, then nodded. All right, but be careful. If they move, run. Eli stepped out from behind the crate. He walked slowly, calmly, acting like he belonged there. The crew didn't move. He picked up a tablet and pretended to check something. Karine used the moment to crawl to the side panel. She connected the drive and started the upload. Eli saw her nod. The counter signal was loading. But then the lights flickered again, and all 3 crew members looked straight at Karine. No. Eli whispered. The nearest crew member started walking toward her. Karine didn't stop. 10 more seconds. Eli ran forward and blocked the path. Hey, wait! The crew member paused, staring at Eli. Karine shouted, 5 seconds! Eli looked into the crew member's eyes. You don't want to hurt us. We're part of you. You know me. The blue glow in the man's eyes flickered. The upload beeped. Upload complete. A shockwave of soft light passed through the room. It was invisible to the eye, but they felt it. A shift in the air, the hum changed tone, the crew members stopped moving. They blinked slowly, then looked confused. What happened? One of them asked, rubbing his head. Karine stood up. The counter signal worked. It reached their minds. Eli stepped back, breathing hard. We stopped it? For now, Karine said. But the signal is still out there. We only stopped one part. There may be more. The crew members slowly sat down, dizzy and tired. One of them looked at Karine and whispered, I saw something, a world full of machines. It wanted us to build a door. Karine looked serious. It's not just a signal, it's a message from another place. A place that wants to come here. Eli felt cold. Then we stopped the infection. But not the invasion. Karine nodded. Yes. And the only reason we survived today is because we trusted each other. Eli looked at her with quiet respect. Even though we're from different worlds. Karine smiled softly. Sometimes that's what makes us stronger. They looked at the silent crew, now free from the control. But they both knew this was only the beginning, whatever had reached across space to send that signal was still out there, and it wasn't done yet. After the tension in the engineering bay, Eli and Karine knew things would not return to normal. The strange signal was more than a simple infection, it was a warning. Something was coming, something beyond the station's walls. Eli sat on a metal bench in the station's common area. His hands trembled slightly as he stared at the small device Karine had brought back from their room. The black ring, now sealed inside a protective case, felt like a tiny prison holding a dangerous secret. Karine joined him quietly, her face calm but serious. We need to find out where this device really came from. Eli looked up. We know it's not from any race we have met before. The tech is different, almost alive, like you said. Karine nodded. And the message in the minds of the crew about machines and building a door. It feels like a signal from another galaxy. Eli frowned. A message? From who? Karine took a deep breath. I don't know yet, but I want to try something. She stood and moved toward the station's main communication hub. The large room was full of consoles, screens, and cables running everywhere. It was the nerve center of the station's contact with the outside universe. Eli followed, curiosity mixing with worry. What are you going to do? Karine began to connect the black device to one of the consoles. I want to send a reply. A signal back. If it's a message, maybe we can talk to whoever sent it. Eli blinked in surprise. Isn't that risky? What if it makes things worse? Karine smiled slightly. It's a risk we have to take. We can't hide forever. If something is reaching out, maybe it's also looking for help. Eli nodded slowly. All right, I'll help. Together they prepared the reply. Karine used her knowledge of alien signals and human technology to create a pattern that was calm and peaceful, a message that said, We want to understand. We don't want war. As the signal sent out through the station's antenna, Eli felt the room grow heavy. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the screens flickered. A hologram appeared in the center of the room. It was faint but clear, an alien figure. Tall and thin, with smooth blue skin and large eyes that glowed softly. Its face showed curiosity and sadness. Karine gasped softly. It's a sentient being, a messenger. The alien's voice echoed in their minds. It was calm but full of urgency. Greetings. We are the Varelians, travelers of the dark space between stars. Our world was destroyed long ago by a force called the Null Wave. It is a terrible energy that consumes minds and machines alike. Eli swallowed hard. Is that? What sent the signal? The thing trying to control our crew? Yes, the alien replied. The Null Wave moves through space like a shadow. It spreads by infection and control. It is a weapon of destruction. Karine asked, Why did you send the signal to us? Because your kind is unique, the Varelian said. Humans and Kellari share a strength we do not have. Your minds resist the Null Wave's control better than any other. That is why it tested your station. Eli's eyes widened. You mean we're special? The Varelian nodded. Yes, you are the first to stand against the Null Wave. You can fight it, and you can stop it. Karine looked at Eli with renewed hope. Then we have a chance, the alien's image flickered. But time is short. The Null Wave approaches your sector. It will reach your homeworld soon. Eli felt a cold fear in his chest. Earth? Yes, the Varelian confirmed. You must prepare, learn to fight together. Use your differences as your greatest strength. Karine touched the console softly. We need to warn the others. Eli stood up, determination burning in his eyes. Then let's get to work. They called a meeting of the station's remaining crew. Most had recovered from the strange influence, but the fear still hung thick in the air. Eli and Karine shared everything. The signal, the infection, the Varelian message, and the coming threat of the Null Wave. Some listened with disbelief. others with wide eyes and shaking heads, but one thing was clear: no one could ignore what was coming. Captain Doran, a tall human with a calm voice, stood and spoke. "We have faced many dangers in the past. We survived through trust and courage. Now we face something greater. We must unite." Karine added, "The null wave targets minds and machines. We need to protect both. We will train together, use new technology and our own strengths." Eli felt the room fill with energy, hope mixed with fear. He looked at Karine. "Together, we will fight." Over the next days, the station changed. The crew worked harder than ever. Engineers and scientists studied new defenses. Soldiers trained with alien weapons. Humans and Kalari learned each other's ways. Eli spent long hours with Karine. They shared stories about Earth, Kalari homeworld, and their dreams. Their friendship grew stronger, a bond born from trust and survival. One evening, Eli found Karine watching the stars from the observation deck. "The null wave is coming," she said softly. "But I believe we will stand," Eli nodded, "because we are not alone." "And because we don't give up?" she smiled, her eyes bright. "That is what makes humans special." As they looked out into the vast darkness, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter. A new hope had been born, one that would test their courage and unity like never before. The quiet calm of the space station was gone. Every crew member moved with purpose, preparing for the battle that was coming. The null wave was no longer a distant threat. It was almost here. Eli stood at the main command center, watching the star map flicker on the big screen. Blue dots showed friendly ships. Red marks warned of unknown objects approaching their system. Karine joined him, her face serious but calm. "The null wave's path is clear. It will reach Earth within days." Eli clenched his fists. "We don't have much time." Karine nodded. "But we have a plan." Their plan was simple but bold. Use the combined strength of human courage and Kalari technology, plus the knowledge shared by the Virelian messenger, to create a defense strong enough to stop the null wave. They had worked day and night on special devices, energy shields and signal disruptors, designed to block the infection and protect minds. But the final test was still to come. The null wave entered their system like a creeping shadow, invisible at first. Then the alarms blared. Red lights flashed. The crew gathered in the command center. Captain Doran's voice was calm, steady. "Prepare for impact. Stay ready." Eli felt a cold sweat on his forehead. But he looked at Karine and found strength. "Let's do this," he said, outside the station's windows. Dark shapes moved silently, machines and ships consumed by the null wave. The first wave struck the shields. Energy rippled and shimmered, but the shields held firm. Karine controlled the signal disruptors, sending out pulses to block the infection. "Eli," she said, "we need to send a team to disable the null wave's core. If we can find and destroy it, the rest will fall apart." Eli nodded. "I'll go." Karine grabbed his arm. "Be careful. This is the most dangerous part," he smiled, a little nervously. "I know." Together they led a small team on a fast ship toward the heart of the null wave fleet. The enemy ships seemed like living shadows, twisting and changing shape as they moved closer. The whispers in Eli's mind returned, stronger this time, pushing to control his thoughts. He fought to stay clear and focused. The memories of Earth, his family, and Karine's steady voice helped him resist. The team landed on the largest enemy ship, the core, inside. The walls pulsed with dark energy. Machines and wires seemed alive, growing and moving. Karine scanned quickly. "The core is in the center chamber. We have to reach it." They moved through the ship, avoiding traps and strange creatures made of metal and energy. Finally, they reached the chamber. A huge black orb floated in the middle, glowing with dark light. Eli stepped forward. "This is it." Karine connected her device to the orb, sending a countersignal. The orb shuddered, but suddenly the orb exploded in a burst of energy, throwing everyone back. Eli hit the ground hard. Pain spread through his body, but he forced himself to move. Karine stood, her device still working. The orb cracked and broke. "Apart?" The dark light fading, outside, the enemy ships began to lose power and fall apart. Eli smiled weakly. We did it. Karine nodded, breathless but proud. Together. The null wave was defeated, for now, back at the station, the crew cheered. They had faced a terrible enemy and survived because they trusted each other. Captain Doran raised a glass in the celebration. To the brave crew, to Eli and Karine, proof that unity is the greatest strength. Eli looked at Karine, feeling a deep connection. We were ready, he said quietly, because we stood together. She replied, the stars outside shone brighter than ever. And humanity, with friends like Karine, had shown the universe that no shadow could break their light.